And welcome back to Runescape God Emissaries Episode 4. Before my 1-year anniversary. Okay. Do I have what I need? I do not have body. So I'm just gonna get a body talisman and then give it to my wicked hood. We should have all we need. How many teleports can you do? You can do 2. I need you to do more. Delicious. Okay, I need you to do one more. Delicious. Well, I mean, I assume they're delicious, it's not telling me. Maybe it's so disgusting that it's giving me the teleport, so I stopped feeding it to it. Okay. Interesting. Fire teleport. You can get this all by lodestones fairly easily, apparently. 1. 2. Okay. Air. And earth. Well, do I not have blood? I guess I never used the blood I think I just sold the blood talisman, actually. Okay. Mind. They're all like in this area. Yeah, they're all in free-to-play areas because obviously they need to be able to runecraft like that. Power the artifact. Well done, you've empowered the artifact successfully. Show you to improve your agility. You know, aspiration jobs, well done. Take this improved banner. Has a new ability, when you contact me once per day, I can boost your agility for 30 minutes. Now I have all 3 pieces of element, I can assemble it. Since you put so much work into it, you deserve to keep it. Well, and declare to all that you are a true follower of Zero, so that you change your thing. I have no more jobs for you to do. Get out of here, you're unemployed. Okay. Fairly powerful, but I mean, of course, you know, level 60, so. Level 60 combat or something like that, I think. Oh no, you get 109.25k XP from this. But anyways, Book of the Gods. Oh boy. Book of Orbital, Chapter 1. I arrived in this world several sunsets ago. It is a desolate place. The ground is grey, dust in all directions. It is cold and light is scarce. Taste there, and I know my people could never have survived here. It is a fitting place for me to stay for a while. I walk as I write, my wings trail in the dust as zigzag, record my time here. Thoughts turn to legacies, visiting me in Gillinor. My adversary are dead, my staff has been lost. Time they'll forget me, there is something reassuring about that. Light catches my eyes, far to the west I fly to it, is nothing but a meteorite, smoking crater. Similarity to the wilderness in Frenzy is inescapable. Chapter 2. There is no land in this world, just wind, water, and waves. Nothing stays still. The chaos of it all deafens me. For me, stability grows, so upon my arrival I froze water and made an island. Green bird still needs a perch. Past the time I flew on the crosswinds and tried to forget my troubles, I remember that my adversary would fly about me as I soar, playfully mimicking my every move. I know not that I should not forget, no matter how much I may wish it. It seems there's no life in this world. I can see the seeds of life, but not life itself. So reaching for my staff to give those Sees the spark of energy, a push to catalyze their efforts, but it is gone. It's enough time here. 3. The sky is a boiling mass of noxious gas, and the ground seems to be melting. But by the old gods, there's life here. Southwards, until everything grew colder, I saw what looked like dark stones to the ground. I attempted to move one, and to my surprise, it moved itself. Stones with small shelled creatures, sharp legs shot out in attempts to repel me. In studying them, weather, temperatures, and technologies conspiring against them, firm, clustering their shells, they survive and endure again and again. I must continue my solitary pilgrimage. Orbital. Oh, the air here is toxic, hard, unrelenting. Gravity pulls me down, and I must toil to remain alive. Well, there's gas with no ground sounding, yet this world is a paradise for the beings native to this atmosphere. Tiny creatures, the biggest no larger than a wasp or beetle, circle around me. At first I thought they wanted to hide in the down of my feathers. When I turned, they turned. When I stopped, they stopped. They were mimicking playing. Strength enough to make the journey back towards my homes. In the halls of my bones, I know it is time to return. In the shelter, my faith will be beneath my wings once more. Orbital. Bandos. Oh boy. First obelisk. To the upcomes of the Thrasgrag tribe, I, Bandos, you gotta give me this message. You see, you build a statue of me higher than your tallest buildings. It's coated in gold and jewels of every color. I've seen how many outguns your tribe felt as swords and raiders, bringing the jewels to the statue back from the far corners of Ubius. I have seen how the great sculptor of your tribe lost her sight while completing her life's work. I've seen the goblins and orcs and ogres of other tribes look and wonder at the statue that shines out, playing like a second sun. Do you forget that I'm a god of war? You are born to my sight, I command you to tear it down and destroy every piece of it. The designed and the workers who helped to build it are to be put to the sword. I am the lord of battle, and only work of craftsmanship that is pleasing to me is a well-made weapon. Then shamans are to combine their arts and invent new weapons greater than any this world has seen. Do this in your tribe, greater my sight than all others in Ubisk. As to the dwarfs of the Verokotok tribe, I, by Nestor God, give you this message. Then you build a statue of me, finally crafted from a single block of stone. In every capital city of the continent, there stands a statue like it. One images to create monuments of gold and statues. These statues are a mark of each tribe's dedication to me. But behold the city of the Tresgid tribe. It's only the most splendid, like a second number. They've torn it down, the plinth stands empty. Tribe smiths and chimps combine their arts in secret workshops. In the statue they reject my righteous rule. They are creating new weapons, not for my glory, but in order to defy me. Here you tries to battle and destroy the Sora's tribe, show no mercy. Put to the sword the men and women, from the elderly. But if you find any weapons that the smiths and shamans have crafted in secret weapons, these you are not to destroy, these you are to claim and use in my name. Do this and your tribe will be greater than all my sight. All is Nubiusk. I despise Bandos. To the ogres of the Agrathrog tribe, I by announcing my God give you the message. Your conquest of Varoktrog tribe pleases me, but waiting to stricken until they're weak from their battle with the tribe, your kind of generals show cunning. Conquest is the only work that gives me glory, no statue, no ballad, indeed. No finely crafted weapon is as pleasing to me as a victory bravely won. You should cunning too. By destroying the weapons that the destroyers should begin to build. Seeing there is in my pools of vintage, they were like has never been seen in this world or any other world. These weapons, build more of them and use them to conquest the tribes beyond the mountains, beyond the oceans. You will achieve the greatest act of conquest in the history of my world, and the screams of the tribes you slaughter will rise up like music to my holy mountain. This in your tribe will be greater than in my set than all is in Ubius. Fourth, blessed to the orgs of the Gothor tribe. I, Banos, God, give you the message. Stand and fight, cowards. Armies of the tribe break down on your cities. Rain fire upon you with new weapons. They burn your villages to the ground and butcher their inhabitants. In my infinite generosity, I have given you the same weapons that the others of the tribe are using to protect you. Fight back, you said, in diplomats pleading for peace. You would sell your sons and daughters as slaves rather than take up arms to defend them. I know that there are so-called wise ones in your cities, so there are to go on using new weapons would be an end to all life in Ubius. Yet cowards who wish to corrupt you with their ways. If anyone preaches against war, put them to the sword, and then take that sword and slay the enemies of your tribe. You know my people, whom I raised from the mud and formed into mighty warriors. Have you not seen death I invent for those who defy me? Put aside the talk of peace, destroy or be destroyed, and survival will be greater in my sight than all others in Ubius. Yep, fucking Mandos. So glad he was dead, wish I could have killed him myself. Like, I think Gothics would be okay with that, to be honest with you. Juno wouldn't, apparently. Okay, Book of Zyphreium. Chapter 1, it was a dark time to be an IC, and Zyphreium was another plane far from us, and the warriors were with him. I was left to summon home, and I tend to 2 active farms left on our island. But hard work has never fazed me, not all my years. It was not the work that caused the problems, however, it was the rebels. Here we had more than half our supply of grain stolen, so Gnome watched the whole thing, but was powerless to stop. It was a particularly hard migration. The rebels... In my realize easy, we were ill-equipped and ill-suited to defend ourselves. While the rebels rarely did lasting damage, we could not stay in this position forever. Usually we thought that perhaps we might lose them on the next migration, Domus. Chapter 2, priests arrived. Gnome first saw him and his retinue 3 aging warriors on the horizon as we worked the fields. 10 of us taken war, and the rebels had taken their toll. He landed, produced a letter of proclamation, and began to read. His former soldier, one of the few to escape Gillinor. He had news the war was over, and yet the priest looked solemnly to us as we cheered. He told us that Zyphreium would not succeed in his goal. Those be reformers, those goals were to see. We were just happy the fighting ended, and with Zyphreium returned, the rebels would finally see justice. Domus. If the priest offered his services, a blessing was said over the grave of Ceremonial, who has seen many migrations. As we paid respects, the sense of renewed spirit and unity within our little community. Zyphreium was returning. He would come to his protection peace. Before he came, though, the rebels attacked, eager to strike at the symbol of their hatred, the priest. 12 of them, coming from the north, branching spears. They slashed at their crops as they flew by. 3 warriors called the villagers to arms. How I wish that moment had never come. So intended on attacking the priest and did not hold back. We stood resolute with faith, knowing that Zyphreium expected no less until he returned. He and I took up my own step forward. 13 I seen that day. 7 rebels, 2 warriors, and the priest. Villagers young, Asimir, and her brother Lemoninus fell. So none of that, for I held Solomon in my arms, his life escaped her. Domus. Jumped passively as the rebels took our harvest, I could muster a thought. Before long, the time came for the migration. Left in pairs, and I was a community as they had before, and I was alone. I was ready to lie down and let the cold, dark of winter take me. Here I drew closer, and the once bright sun touched the horizon. I went to the grave of Solomon and sat for the cold death. It was then that he came, like a second sun, to the horizon and flew towards me unerringly. At his side, almost invisible in Zyphreium's brightness, see others. Among them was the surviving warrior. His being eyes heard when returning, he had not forgotten me. Domus. Look, Saren. Again. Just wait for children of Ma. First age, a song of creation tells of how Saren first came to her home plane. The embodiment of a crystal world, beauty and grace, tranquility and harmony. She taught us many things, how to shape the crystals of voices, how to live alone, live at one with the world around us, to take only what we needed and to give back all that we could. For it was strong, and that love was given back to us 100-fold. And her race was a timeless period, so wrapped were we with her home and her goddess. But all changed when the green god Gothics visited our world. When I was to join him on a permanent journey to a perfect world, as he tells that my people scarce believed his claims, someone was eager to explore. As before her. And was as enamored with him as she was with us. Any apprehensions my ancestors had were instantly forgotten when they saw Gillinor for the first time, for Gothics had spoken truly. Were our world alone shone with the light of a million stars, this one's beauty was found in its lush and flowing teeming life. He broke off part of herself for each of the elven clans and instructed us to say the city to coexist with the surrounding forest, a reminder of where we came from and home to all elves. She often saw her head out with Gothics to discover as many secrets together. She would always come home, and was whom she loved above all else. This is enough to move the influence of the gods from the moral races, and bade Saren to join him. Her heart was torn, but her love for us was strong, and she chose to stay, promising the green god that she would join him in fullness of time. Plus, there's also the fact that, well, if Saren leaves, then the elves die. Because there's the reasons. But even the best laid plans may go awry. Whatever my goddess' intentions, they were set aside when a great emptiness fell upon this world. At Zaros. She was like a blight across the land, led by one who cared not to live in harmony with the world as we did, and control all and lend it to its will. We even lost the world gate to its insatiable hunger, and could travel no more to a crystal world of old. Saren bid her envoys and scouts back to the forest. We were lost to the emptiness encroached on our eastern borders. Others chose not to heed Saren's words and instead chose to fight back, but Saren herself has promised Green God to not involve herself with the wider world and instead to stay within the great forest that was her home. Clans were not content to sit at home while their families and friends were dying in this east. Though we all love the forest and our crystal goddess, our society was split. Unless we remain with the forest, we were protected by Saren's light, and the darkness did not touch us. Among those we were left to fight, but eventually we lost track of time in the world outside. Much as we had back in our fallen plane, we had a forest and a goddess. What more did we need? And in turn, we were all but forgotten by the world. Third Age. So cut off were we that we were unaware that the emptiness had passed, and that it had been replaced by something worse. New forces bounding across the world, plunging everything into chaos, fire, war, and corruption, but still a lady kept us safe. The war threatened to encroach on our domain, but it could not. Our great king, Backstory, held it at the pass. We are people who used to travel to the east. It's literally just a gate. Why is it so secret? Strong, she was pure and kept her, and her will kept the city secure. Escalating after so many years of fighting, a faraway land was utterly devastated. King God awoke from his slumber to cast out those who would raise such a perfect place and save his children. Last, once the influence of all the gods had been removed, he visited a lady in the forest. She chose to stay with us and to not involve us in the great and terrible war. Guthix was now so resolved not to remove godly influence from the world that he gave her no choice but to leave. Still with sadness and shame in her heart, she would not abandon us completely. She chose to wane, exploding in a shower of light and crystals, scattering herself throughout the forest. Leonard wept, believing her to be gone, and then he left. Through the god wars, people mourn the loss of a goddess as she had been. Those who had stuck out east to fight led a pilgrimage back to the forest. Unlike the city that had been grown from her upon her arrival here, we knew that she lived on with every shard scattered throughout the world, and echoes of her voice still sung out in the Tower of Voices. Not completely lost to us, and even to this day, every elf carries a part of Saren with them. In their hearts or in their hands, she continues to be shaped by us and her actions. Saren's queen, the Lady Glorial, held us strong through her grief, much to rebuild her society. After so many years living isolated in the forest, and the darkness and chaos finally lifted from this wider world, our people struck out east again to greet old and new friends alike. Over the course of time, though, not since had to guide us a great schism from between the elven clans of old, and now our great crystal city has been lost to us. This passing, some believe that if every crystal were brought together again, the goddess could now be returned to us, or that we could regrow our lost city. Unless she rediscovered the world gate and travel back to her ancestral home, the opposite Saren has, or can be regrown in the crystal there. We wish to honor her final act and do not wish this, for thanks to her sacrifice she has never left us. It's now up to us to spread her harmony and tranquility across this world. Book of Sliske. Yeah, Sliske's kind of become an important figure in the 6th Age. Well, the Zarosians spilled over our front lines, mixing dust with blood. Their fervor for battle was insatiable. We were ordered to retreat at first light, but we knew we wouldn't make it to dawn. We needed the Caridian gods to grace the battlefield. Now morale was low, and the last members of our civilization were flickering out. I weighed my coin bag and wondered if there was time to abandon the life of a mercenary to steal a ship and leave. Blind momentarily by a burning light, and the ground came to rumble. A wind came across the plains like a tidal wave, drowning out the cries of war. The light spread like a flame burning through parchment, making a tear in the very fabric of the world. From that yawning rift, small army marched forth. The ground quickened beneath their feet. A figure held the portal open, the head of a jackal atop its shoulders. Ichtharan had returned, brought reinforcements. Graham Cabald. Turning point in the Caridian Zarosian War, Ichtharan's warriors crashed into the Zarosian forces. Command is terrifying to behold, mighty sorcerers whose names sound foreign to our ears. Our army gave them a new name, the Stern Judges. They towered over us by some feet, and rose with a ridge on their foreheads. They made an impression on me, his laugh echoing in my ears, and his rictus grin etched into my memory. His name was Sliske. Appeared and disappeared at will. He was feared by the soldiers and distrusted by an unknown kind. I felt a kinship with him, as I was awed by his power. No way I can make out the Korean gods thundering throughout the enemy. Certain judges at the backs. Since he had a different goal where he moved in other directions, he moved silently. I was able to keep track of him as he shifted between shadows. Gave chase, plunging my sword into the hapless soldiers in my path. Graham Cabald. After years, I struggled to keep pace with Sliske. I became lost in darkness. The only machine came from torches. Remorse and Sliske matures in a group of enemies. He did not seem to favor his blade. He placed a hand on their armor, and both he and the enemies disappeared. Moments later, Sliske returned, but his opponents would be gone. Struck and knocked to the ground, found myself on my back with a blade in my throat, staring in the wild eyes of the Zarosian scout. Fear washed over me as I heard steel slicing into flesh, but nothing save a warm trickle of blood on my chest. The water was tossed aside like a doll, and his face peered down at me instead. I'll never forget that grin, and like a skull covered in a veneer of rigid gray flesh. My eyes locked with Sliske's, fingers of his lips. He smiled and was gone. In the months that followed, Itharan led the charge northwards across the river Eldred. Shana's stern judges overpowered their foes. Despite my obsession with Siske, nigh impossible to track. One moment I would be watching from far, the next he would vanish. He built an entourage of spectral whites, shimmering with blacks. Pearls that the warriors he took in battle were returning to serve him. When I reached the mountains and the forces arose made their stand in a narrow pass. Tactical advantage, we were victorious that day. The dust settled on the blood and our swords boiled in the sun. To the Thardian lands remain, I thought demanded that Siske release his whites so he could guide them to the underworld. When Siske refused, Thorin took them by force. With a swipe of his hand, Thorin obliterated the ranks. He narrowed his eyes and smiled with a gesture he was gone, and Thorin never counted Siske as a friend from that day. And therefore, that basically caused that basically brought Roger to Zaros. But anyways, that's going to be it for this episode though, so if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. See ya!